Well, Tricky, I know how much the children yearn for the mines, so I went ahead and brought you here for you to have fun. Well, see you later. No. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Star Fox Adventure. We just got to the Dark Ice Mines, the first, like, quote-unquote dungeon of the game. Oh, don't fall, Fox. Yeah, so this is like the first area. There's only really like 4 dungeons, quote unquote. Well, there's more than 4, but 4 areas like this. There's like, oh god. Fox would stop trying to fall to his doom. Why? Oh, what is my? Oh man, I have to reset my controller. Or is he just? Why is he turning to the screen? That's weird. Yeah, I don't know why he's turning towards the screen because, like, controller's not doing the drift. Hang on. Might have to unplug the controller and try plugging it back in. These old controllers with the analog sticks, if they... There we go. If they have even the slightest level of, like, directional pressure on them, it sets it towards, like, that is the neutral point. So I guess it had a little bit of downward pressure when I turned it on. But like I was saying a minute ago, there's, like, 4 major, like, dungeons, and then there's, like, a couple of them that you keep going back to, you know? I could swear he crawled through there. He crawled through stuff faster when I was like younger. Maybe there's something I'm forgetting that I'm supposed to do. Ouch. But yeah. So there's like 4 major areas to run around in. They're the floating islands in the sky, and then you have like a couple of places you have to go to in the actual like game itself a couple times. It's not really a super long game, if I remember correctly. But if I do remember, there are a couple of, like, what do you do moments. Alright, what's in this treasure chest? It's a key. It's a shackle key. Use it to unlock snow horn shackles. There's, like, 2 different fanfares here. There's you got the key out of the chest, and then he picked up the key. But I think I said something about it in one of the earlier episodes about like that. That's just something from like games they used to do, like Zelda. I think Zelda started it with like picking up the item and holding it overhead, and it being like, "Oh, here's this item you collected." And then they just kind of continued the trend. Find a way into the mine, but beware of Galdon. Galdon? Who's Galdon? Galdon. It's the Garlon. Garlon is big as a building, and has arms as big as buildings that he will use to crush you with. Alright, whoa. Taking shots at me in the dark, huh? I think these are the most annoying enemies because, like, they pop underground. You can't do anything until they show back up. Get the spell stone and save our tribe. How do you know I'm even here for that? You think, I could actually be, like, your greatest enemy. You wouldn't know. Can you help get me free? Maybe. But in a minute. Want to see if there's anything really around here. Okay, there's something I know. Okay, I need some certain stuff. Can't do this yet. I do remember that. I know what that is. And I think it's an ability we're going to get. So, unlock this guy's shackles. Yeah. What? What? There we go. Don't worry, dude. I got just the thing. I don't know why it's making this super complicated.
Thank you for releasing me.
Oh, Dudette, I mean.
Down into the mine, then please look out for Bellina Tay, the gatekeeper's daughter. She didn't mean to get us into this mess by telling Scales about the Spellstone.
Yeah.
She did what she thought was right.
Yeah.
Please help her.
Okay, lady. I'll keep a lookout for her.
This might be of use to you. I found it while I was working. It looked important, so I hid it from the sharp claws.
Yeah. What is it? It's bridge cog. Find the machine that it fits, and you'll be able to open a new route. Okay. And you're back. Little bastards. Alright, let's see. God, I hate these guys. They sound like jaguars for some reason. Just drop. There we go. Here's where we gotta use this. Wow. That's some deep-ass pockets you got there, Fox. And here we go. We got a bridge over troubled waters. Okay. But yeah, so the game is relatively straightforward with a lot of its stuff. Not super ultra complicated. I guess that's another reason why people don't like it, is because it's not like... I mean, it's like a lot of people criticize it for being basically Zelda in a lot of aspects, but like, I guess, I mean, I'm not going to say criticism is never valid. I'm just going to say that, like, they criticize aspects about this game. You know, they're like, oh, this game's a lot like Zelda, and here's things we don't like about this particular game that's, like, literally in Zelda. I think I know I touched upon it in one of the previous episodes about, like, you know, you lock on, which is automatic lock on. It locks on, and then you just hit the A button to attack. But that's pretty much every Zelda game.
I am forever in your debt.
That's right.
I see your little friend has yet to learn his flame command.
That's right.
Go on, youngster. Give it a go.
Yeah, so little did anyone know, Tricky has always had the ability to breathe fire, apparently.
Exhausted. I could help you through the main gates. I need some food.
I need some food. Food! He's awake! He's hungry! Bring some food! He needs food! I think it's funny that I have always thought that the original live-action Ninja Turtles movie was a fucking masterpiece. That was like, people overlook it and look down their nose at it because it's Ninja Turtles. But like, it's funny to see very recently how many essays keep coming up on YouTube about how great the original Ninja Turtle movie is. It's almost like that's just the meta right now, you know? So we got fire there. We get fire here. Get over here and burn it down. But yeah, like, I've always loved... Oh, it's just for this? Oh, that was a waste of time. I've always loved that movie. I've always thought it was, like, one of the best movies ever made. Like a cinematic Oops, sorry, bumped the mic. I think it's a cinematic masterpiece that, like, a lot of people kind of overlook. Like I said, once again, because it's just Ninja Turtles. They think it's gonna be, like, cheesy and stuff. And, like, the Siskel and Ebert... If I remember correctly, the Siskel and Ebert, what do they call it? Criticism that they gave for the movie was like, oh, it's a bunch of catchphrases and it's for kids and stuff. And it's like, did you watch the fucking movie? Like, I think there's maybe one or two actual catchphrases. Oh, you bastard. One or two actual catchphrases in the movie. You know, the rest of it is very much so a story about family and confusing someone who's just abusive and manipulative for somebody who actually, you know, cares about you. You know what I mean? And Casey Jones, spoiler alert, if anybody... Oh yeah, do I have to do something with this? I think this is just to get back up, right? So Casey Jones, spoiler alert, is a fucking murderer in that movie. But this is back in the day when, like, the good guys, even if they just cold-blooded murder the villains, you better. I need... Isn't there like a flame thing down there I need him to like do? Come on, dude. This guy's back. Anyway, so yeah, like, you see, finally, damn. I was wondering where you were when you were coming. But that was like back in the day when like nobody was like really questioned it. It was basically just like, oh, he's a hero. He's one of the good guys. Like the bad guy had it coming kind of deal. There was quite a lot of that, you know, up until like about a decade or so ago when everybody wanted, like, let me put it this way. I encourage the idea of like a villain having layers and not just being like evil for the sake of evil for telling a story, right? But sometimes you just need a villain who's like that. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to tell a more in-depth story about how this character became this way, and or like what their motivation is behind why they are the way they are, that's great. You know, I'm not gonna say anything bad about that, but sometimes a villain just needs to be a villain. You know what I mean? Like if you read like a lot of the older Grimm fairy tale stories, like everything was just kind of in black and white. Because it wasn't about what's the motivation of the villain or what's the motivation of this or that. Why is the evil...
That's better, but I need more.
Oh, man. He needs more. He needs more blankets and less blankets at the same time. Anyway, so it's like... They have stories like Snow White's story, right? Snow White's... The motivation is she's like the evil... Queen is just jealous of Snow White's beauty because she thinks that she's the prettiest and that the magic mirror is like, nope, you're not. It's like teenage girl over here. And after it did that, you know, the whole thing is she's just jealous and she wants her out of the way so she can be considered the most pretty. That's literally the motivation of the evil queen in Snow White. Snow White didn't do anything. She didn't go and like ruin anything. It's literally just like, oh, you know, well, she's prettier than I am. Well, I got to get her out of the way so I can be the prettiest. You know what I mean? And for that, the catalyst of that, it's super petty. It's super petty and stuff, but the whole point is it doesn't really matter what the motivation really was. It was just, here is the reason why this girl has to go into hiding and like go and shack up with 7 little dudes. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the entirety of it in a nutshell. Is that like, I don't remember if she's actually, the queen is even remotely related to Snow White, but it's basically just... Is that all there is down here? I think we will come back here eventually. But anyway, so it's like the motivation is just basically like she's jealous and she wants to be the prettiest. That's it. You know what I mean? There's no real motivation why the evil stepmother and stepsisters are like shitty towards Cinderella other than they just are. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's just as simple as it can be. They just are. They're awful, terrible people who say and do awful, terrible things in the world. and they have no real reason or motivation to be that way.
I feel much better now.
Oh, nice. This music always kind of reminds me of like Ernest Goes to Jail.
Let's smash those gates.
Specifically when he like is breaking out of jail. But yeah, you know, sometimes there's just like awful, terrible people who say and do awful, terrible things. And there's no real motivation behind it. They're just terrible people. You know, maybe somewhere in their life at one point or another, something happened that made them kind of a shitty person. But sometimes people are just shitty because they're from, you know, their parents were shitty. And they taught them how to be shitty out of like the sake of just because they're shitty, you know. It's tragic. And it's like tragic and it's sad that like that's the case, but you know, sometimes that's just how it is with a lot of people. And then they have all sorts of justifications as to why they're that way. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like you're not always going to have a nice, clean, not always going to have like a nice, clean, ow, you lit me on fire, Tricky. Not always going to have like a nice, clean, like, oh, this person is this way because of this thing that happened that made him this way. And if we could just, you know, help ease their mind or help ease their worries and woes, you know, they'll become a better person. It's not always that simple. It's not always that simple. It's not always that straightforward. It's the same thing as like trying to convince trying to convince somebody of like, when they have a different perspective as to what is like, I guess, like a good way forward, in any particular thing. I'm not talking about necessarily politically or socially or anything. I'm talking about like when you have two people and they're trying to discuss like, plans, you know, like you're at work and it's like, okay, we need to achieve this goal, right? We need to have this thing done, or we need to have like a display or something made. If we're talking about retail, we got to make an end cap or make a display or something. And you have two people who have like two different ideas about how it should be built. So they're going to have a discussion about how to do it. And they're both trying to convince each other what the best way to go about it. Sometimes one person is just completely correct in terms of like, the best way to go about it, but the other person is stubbornly fighting against it anyway. You know, it's the same kind of deal. Like, sometimes, like, you just can't convince somebody of something because they want to do things their way or the way they've always done it. But I'll leave that there for now. You are in control of the Sharp Claw Cannon. You aim with the control stick and fire with A. As longer you hold down the A button, the further you can shoot. Each shot will use power of the staff energy meter. Why? What? That's stupid. I don't remember that. This just seems like really... I mean, the Sharp Claw, let's be real, are kind of dumb anyway. But doesn't that just seem like a really bad idea? You guys saw that, you know, Fox was there. Oh, I got one guy. Got another guy. Are we supposed to fight? I can't remember. Oh, I know we gotta hit that guy, that thing there, right? Almost. A little lower. A little higher. Ugh. This is back before, like, apparently games had the ability... There we go. Before games actually had, like, the ability just to, like, aim. Like, yeah. Oh, right. I totally... That sound effect reminded me. Isn't there, like, a shield? There we go. Yeah, there's a shield. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, if you hold the R button, like, you can shield. I don't remember it ever really being useful. It's kind of like the shield in Zelda. Oh, I think I gotta kill all those guys. I think I do have to kill all those guys. It's like the shield in Zelda. But the shield in Zelda actually is pretty useful at times. Let's see, what's this way? We can't go that way yet. We can go up here though, right? Yeah, we need that. And I think we get that from that spot we were just at. Or we gotta, like, get all of the pieces of the bridge, right? It's a cog. Alright. Yeah. It's gonna tell us that every time. You know, I think a part of me kind of doesn't miss... I don't think I really miss that fanfare of picking something up and holding it over the head. I know a lot of games... some games still do that. Like a Zelda game will still do that, but that's just part of tradition. But it gets really old really fast. It's kind of like in Breath of the Wild, where... After the first time you did the, you know, the tower, the Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, climb up to the top of this thing and activate this tower so that you can, you know, update the map. Like, they have those in, Breath of the Wild. And every time you do it, you have to watch, like, this little teardrop, energy drop, water thing fall onto the Sheikah Slate so that it can update your map. And let me tell you, it gets old real fast because it's like, okay, I've already seen this. Do I have to watch this every time? It's, I don't know. It's one of those things that it's like, I kind of wish they'd let you skip it after the first time. You know what I mean? And, I mean, I'm not really complaining in the sense of, like, you know, I'm not complaining because of, in a sense of, like, for the sake of complaint. I'm complaining because, like, I'm just being realistic about it. Like, it gets old fast, right? Like, this is the third time in a row we've seen this one cutscene, right? And it's going to tell me the same thing about it being a bridge cog, and you got to put it in the right spot. It's like, dude, we know. Right? Alright, that's 3 pieces. Did I only need 3 pieces? There we go. Got those deep-ass pockets. Could you imagine if they had, like, you know, pants pockets had, like, pocket dimensions in them that allowed you to carry, like, an unlimited amount of stuff? Like the little cube in Jimmy Neutron, where he built that little, like, pocket dimension that he could literally... Which, by the way, if we're talking about, like, a character design, like... haven't Deus Ex Machina, like, slipped into the show that makes sense. That's the best way, or one of the best things to get around that. Because now, essentially, Jimmy can have whatever item he needs when he needs it. And it makes sense because it's like, well, of course he would, like, he has that cube with him almost all the time, and it has literally everything he ever needs in it. You know what I mean? Right. Time limits.
Flame.
Flame! Flame on, Tricky!
Fine.
No!
Flame.
Flame! What is there even to find over here? The frickin' mushrooms? I can see the mushrooms.
Flame.
If I remember correctly, there are some points in this game where the time limits are stupidly tight. Like, it's actually one of the games, if I remember correctly, that contributed to me hating time limits. But let me get these mushrooms before we move on. I think actually this might be a good spot to end the video. So I'm going to end the video here. I appreciate you watching. If you made it to this point in the video, I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.